Okay, so the other part of a previous video was, is it worth it to even think about these complex problems that run the world in the first place? Because I feel like I've been handling so many big problems, and the light only came because I started noticing that I can, in fact, apply these solutions to a lot more things. I just found, yes, another way to enjoy life that's a lot simpler and a lot closer to real stuff, right? Real interactions and really sharing yourself to others. That's pretty badass, right? The moment you start sharing yourself to others, you can sort of feel a lot happier than. That's where creativity matters, because creativity hits the floor and you feel appreciated. You feel like your stuff is being bought, or you're selling something. It is something that really, really has to be embraced. The proper products of human kindness, instead of like selling merch. It's kind of fucking weird. Yes, the merch stuff should just be some kind of sticker things, like tattoos for your shirt, something like that. It shouldn't be a separate, completely thing that people own, basically. It's fucking weird. Yeah, you should basically remix your own shirts to whatever stickers other people have. It's like, there's so many technologies right now. And the biggest problem with socialism that we have, or just in general, is that we don't know where things actually belong, and how good they are. Meaning that we never really built a challenge platform. We just educate. The challenge is something you put yourself through. There's not much challenge going on that you can go through and actually understand how you compare to other people. It is very tough when you cannot compare yourself. So, calm, right? Not being able to compare yourself means diversity is whelming. Again, vicious socialism, overwhelming diversity of people. The moment you start comparing yourself, they just vanish because they're better than you in something else. And in order to compare yourself, you have both share skills that you care about, level the playing field a little bit, tinker that play field. Should be able to, comparison often requires equalizing. So you find something in common, you equalize it a little bit, right? So if someone spent 3 years mastering something, they don't have to overpower a noob. It has to be some kind of way to make sure that the chances are equal. And we're not talking about the luck, we're talking about the skill chances. The skill level that has been given to these people, these opponents, let's put it that way. So yeah, then you can compare yourself in a battle. Very simple, right? It is also possible to compare yourself by using other people's perspective, which is sort of voting, right? Voting, but voting has to be enhanced, dismantled into very tiny parts. So you vote on very little actions, and whenever you elect a person, obviously you are dismantling it as well. Nobody should actually be elected and be above anything. That's too much for them to handle in the first place. Donald Trump is an idol. Everyone loves and everyone hates, and he's pretty small actually, right? Because he cannot be big in the position that he's in. He's just someone that can divide the opinions and talk very simple stuff. It's actually gonna be quite fascinating to see what's gonna be next, right? What's gonna be the next president, because it's getting hot in there in these elections. It's getting very fucking weird how somebody can represent anything anymore. This is why the clock does feel like it's running its course. It does feel like it's putting pressure on the person that seemingly is famous. So clock one. Famous people under more and more pressure. Surely, it is tough to actually see the pressure. The pressure is sort of rising, but again, we're not fighting wars. And at the same time, we have very bad ways to analyze data, what's actually happening with people, because science has been muddying the waters and misunderstanding things. As I figured out, very simple thing is that all you do when someone is sick or in trouble, all you do is treat the symptom. And that is the most fast and efficient way to do things. The person has to identify himself first, and obviously the doctor has to identify it just deeper enough so it and simple enough that it clicks to just like one problem that you have to solve. Are you suicidal? You depressed? You anxious? They have this term, and they now know how to tackle it. Until you get to that term, and again, it's their responsibility to dig a little bit deeper. It's your responsibility to dig very, very deep as you possibly can. Obviously, waiting is now against you if you feel really sick and if you feel that someone can help you. That is the problem right now. At least for me, I don't feel that people can help me. I just don't feel it. Right? I don't feel that they're helpful. I feel that they're sitting just like I am, and the best that they could do is just sit there and honestly say that they're sitting there and waiting and communicate with me with what they're waiting for. like, whatever. Because now we're really freezing in here. It's natural. It's what wind element does, is sort of freezes things around, and it still feels like things are moving around and freezing at the same time. It's quite fascinating because this movement is very empty. People are traveling for no good reason because, well, there are things to travel with right now. You can see views, you can get food, all kinds of foods right now. It's absolute bliss to live here in UK, at least as long as you're capable of doing it. I wish I was appreciated. That's it. Just some appreciation that I am, in fact, not a fucking loser, and that I am capable of things. That's all I need to, achieve, and I think I will be fine. So is it worth thinking about? Very deep topics. Very, very deep topics. Because you're going to dig out, scoop out yourself. But what is more important than just thinking, right? Creating a world around you. And is big and ready to be filled with things you like, and then you having the ability to compare and just that again is the same thing. Comparison. Now this is a difficult one, but again the clock seems to be moving where individuals can actually create these worlds and then combine these worlds to a certain degree. But the worlds are so big and so fascinating. You don't have to travel. You can actually stay in one place and function in many more ways than you usually would. So no traveling is actually required to find fascinating things in life that is dying out. What does that mean? If traveling is dying out, and the only thing that's sort of feels like traveling is the internet, it's gonna flip very quickly, right? The moment internet turns into a social net, yes, that's an interesting internet. I think that's when the switch happens. Social net. Yes, digging too deep into these topics is very, very dark and stupid. You have to take breaks, absolutely, but digging is absolutely necessary to get them diamonds and put it in your selfie. Whoever you are, you gotta get them diamonds and not just be like, oh, I'm just gonna post this or whatever. You gotta really feel it, that you can burn that emotion and share it with everyone. If you can't feel it, if it's shit, it will smell like shit. Most importantly, obviously, it's your ability to see yourself and appreciate yourself, and maybe allow yourself to generate garbage, but a disposable garbage, right? That will liberate you as well. And most of the time, people should create disposable garbage. And I am fascinated by singers, for they are creating something special at the same time, right? You need disposable stuff, and you need that special pin that holds it all together. And when disposable stuff gets disposed, you still keep the pin, so you remember what happened in that period. So that's also very interesting. Create chunks of disposable stuff, and then a pin that holds it together until it loses relevance. Yes, singing is one of those super cool things where you just quickly run through emotions, run through everything. Again, everyone should be able to create songs. Everyone should be able to create many different forms of art. And that's what community is supposed to provide at any point that you feel necessary to create whatever you want. So when does internet turn into social net? Because the social net functions a completely different way, where it's very easy for you to introduce your own world into another person's world. The bubbles combine, and you start communicating and see if it's gonna fit or not, or you should just go to bump into another person. Again, right now we're just bumping in reality, and we don't have much to offer because our realities are very, very limited of who we are as people and how we interact. It's very limited. In the internet that turns into social net, things are gonna explode, and socialism will take a deeper form instead of completely disappear. That's why it's 2.111. Tons of socialism happens in that case. My Discord is almost like this social net thing, or Discord could become a social net if done right. It's absolutely difficult to do it. Yeah, but let's say like in 10 years I would probably be able to collaborate with a few people and do a social net, right? A lot of tools have to be picked up until that happens, and people have to get in touch with the internet, and the internet has to become a workplace. It's just an easy access workplace. A lot of things have to change and rearrange. Internet is very, very young and very shitty place. That's why everyone is just dumping themselves into clusters like YouTube or Facebook, whatever tool internet is more like a tool instead of a living place where you actually create homes for yourselves. Only creators get to do homes because, well, they're businesses, right? You walk through it. It's not a home, it's more like a wind place or a windmill. You just walk through it. It generates wind energy for them because they own something that's, easy access and easy to understand and easy to enjoy. While the rest is up for us to wait until, the switch happens. So this is very interesting, right? So the clock does move. If you look into the future, we do see things potentially changing for a lot better. And I still fucking hate that I have to change quite a bit as well, but that's just me. So it's definitely worth thinking and seeing things like that and experiencing some crazy things just from the comfort of your seat already. Already you can do that. It's just you cannot find communities yet. You will not be taken care of. You will not be totally happy. It is quite a challenge. To create a community within yourself is still a challenge. To get comfortable is still a challenge. So anyone who does create families, and I have to learn how to respect a lot of people right now. That's a new thing in my life, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is quite deep and enlightening. I'm happy. I hope everything works out and we can move forward. Shouldn't be that hard. So let's see.